boys and girls. Yesterday, if you'll remember, we read the Nikki Grimes poem, Home Visit. And that was about Malika, who was returning home, and everywhere she went when she was home, what happened? Right, each family member cooked something special for her. So what we want to try to do today is, let's try to remember what our families do when we haven't seen each other a long time, or when a long passage of time has gone by. What do we do in our own families? Let's see if we do something similar to what Malika's family did all the way in the country of Zanzibar that we read about in the book, How Far is Zanzibar? So what we'd like to do today is we're going to be writing in our journals as we think about what our families do. So what I would like you to do, before you start reading in your journal, before you start writing in your journal, I'd like to give you your assignment. So we have seen what a family in Zanzibar, halfway around the world in Africa, does to welcome a family member who comes to visit. Now let's take a minute to think about what our families do when we have visitors. I bet you will see a lot of similarities. So this is like what we talked about. Now quickly to review, what were some of the foods that we read about yesterday in Malika's family? What foods did her different family members cook for her? Chicken and rice, meaty stew, and what was the word that we talked about that was from the poem? Aguli, right, which was what? Cornmeal, exactly. So a lot of the food, what were some of the other things? Collard greens, correct, and some chicken. And a lot of us eat these same foods here in America, don't we? So what we'd like to do today, let's think and see if our families are anything like the family in Zanzibar that we read about. So before you begin writing about your family, I'd like you to think about some things. So I'll put these on the screen. Number one, what does your mother cook when your family members come for a special visit? Does she cook certain things? Maybe you could think about some holidays, what she cooks. When you go to your grandmother or your aunts, do they cook special foods for your visits? So it's not just your own mom, but maybe your grandmother or your grandfather, maybe he cooks, or your aunts or your uncles, do they cook something special? And then last thing to think about before you start writing, when you're with your family on special holidays like Thanksgiving and Christmas and Easter, or when Ramadan is in, or Kwanzaa, or any other special occasion, what kinds of foods does your family eat to celebrate this as well? So those are the things that you'll think of when you write in your journal. Now let me share with you my journal, and then you will have some time to work on your own. So I thought about all the things that my mother and my grandmothers cooked. So here's my journal entry, and as you know, this is a lot longer than yours usually is, but that's okay. My mom is now 83, so she doesn't cook like she used to, but when I was growing up, she would usually cook very special meals when family members visited, especially during the holiday. On Thanksgiving, she cooked the usual stuff like turkey and stuffing and mashed potatoes, but on other holidays, she cooked sausage and sauerkraut with carrots and a spice called caraway seed. And she cooked a special salad with sour cream dressing and shredded cucumbers and lamb. And she usually cooked that for Easter too, along with ham. My baba, or my grandmother, always made excellent dinners for Latvian Christmas and Easter. We had sausage and sauerkraut with caraway seed, special salad with sour cream and shredded cucumbers, and she always made a duck. Yuck, I didn't like duck. She also baked a delicious cake that had 4 different layers that my brother, my sister, and I loved, and that was called rum cake. She cooked her own bread and her own rolls, and we love that too. And then I thought about my aunt and what she did, and she usually did the same thing: sausage, sauerkraut, and salad. My aunt was Italian, so sometimes she made pasta, but we liked the sausage and the sauerkraut the best. And what's funny, guess what I cook on special meals? I cook the sausage, the sauerkraut, and the salad, just like everybody else in my family. So if someone special in my family comes to visit, that's what I'll cook. So now what I'd like you to do, think about what I wrote, and think about the questions, and think about the poem. how Malika went to all different members of her family, and everywhere she went, someone was cooking something special for her, and she was doing a lot of eating. So let's think about what you did, what you do when you go somewhere in your family or someone comes to visit you. What kinds of foods are you eating to make the visit special? Let's see how our families relate to Malika's family all the way in Zanzibar. So students will take 10 minutes to write, and I'll walk around and monitor, and the kids who can't think of anything, I'll help them try to jog their memories, and they'll write something down, and then they will share their responses with a partner, and they could add to their list if they need to, and then the class will share all their memories and all the different types of food, and I might write down the different foods on the board just so the kids could see all the different types of cultural dinners that we might eat. And then there's one final question, and this is a reflection question. So I would say something like, okay, now that we've finished reading the poem, and we've talked with each other and with the whole class about all the special foods that we eat with our families when someone comes to visit or when we're together for a celebration, I have one last question that I want you to think about and respond to in your journal below where you just wrote. And that question is this: how is your family like the one in the poem? Do you think that food plays a big role in family celebrations in different cultures? Use your own experience from class today and from what we read in the poem to explain your answer. So I'll leave this up. I want you to answer this question in your journal based on what we read in the poem and what we just discussed in class with our partners and with our whole class. And that's it.